योगः कर्मसु कौशलम्.
Hi, welcome to the 18th session in our course HRM for Non-HR Managers. In the previous session, we discussed performance management. In this session, we will introduce the meaning of career, career success and career development. We will present the concept and process of career planning. We will also present the concept of succession planning and succession management from HRM perspective. We begin to think about career development and management by defining the term career. The Cambridge Dictionary defines career as the series of jobs that employees do during their working life, especially to earn money. Linda Hall defined a career as the sequence of individually perceived work-related experiences and attitudes that occur over the span of a person's work life. Another definition of career is the unfolding sequence of a person's work experiences over time as defined by Arthur, Hall and Lawrence way back in 1989. For the purpose of this session, we adopt the broad definition of career by Michael Arthur, Douglas, Barbara, Lawrence. Career is the evolving sequence of a person's work experiences over time. A person's career experiences may be considered a success or otherwise. At any point in a person's work experiences over time, if a person gets desirable outcomes, the career is successful. The success, as you know, is seen both subjectively and objectively. Subjective career success is defined as the individual's evaluation of his or her career across any dimensions important to that individual. Typically, the subjective dimensions of success are in terms of a person's attitudes, values and beliefs. Objective career success is an external perspective of tangible indicators of an individual's career situation. These may involve occupation, family situation, mobility, task attributes, income and job level. The definitions of subjective and objective career success came from Van Manen in 1977. You know how old this discussion on career is. If you have noted our definition of career, it suggests that one's development of career is a lifelong process. One's career experience projects a longer term picture than what a single job does. Many people may have switched jobs during their working lives, but just an aggregation of jobs may not develop effectively into a career. The idea supporting the concept of career development is to build a series of jobs in a way that they help a person find and meet the goals of a stage of life they are in, and at the same time resolve issues of that stage in an effective manner by using their competences and developing new ones as may be relevant. The career development process is defined by Werner and Desimone as an ongoing process by which individuals progress through a series of stages, each of which is characterized by a relatively unique set of issues, themes and tasks. It is important to understand that while career, its development and success is an individual's concern and subjective experience, and the career decisions are a matter of individual choice, the human resource managers and human resource development managers take career development and management seriously. HR and HRD managers believe that effective management of employees' career by the organization will improve the individual performance and development, and thereby will motivate the employees to stay and increase their organizational commitment. Of course, you will infer that committed employees perform better. Since the reality is not all that simple, in this chapter we will discuss career management more closely but from organizational perspective. In order to understand career management and its aim, it is important to understand the stage theory of life. There are several stage theories have been proposed. For the purpose of this session, we use stages of human development explained by Erikson. There are 8 stages you can see on your screen. Stage number 1, trust versus mistrust. Basic virtue is hope. The age is between 0 to 1.5 years. Stage number 2, autonomy versus shame. Basic virtue is will. The age group is between 1.5 years to 3 years. Stage 3, initiative versus guilt. Basic virtue is purpose. Age group is between 3 and 5. Stage number 4, industry versus inferiority. Basic virtue is competency. Age will be between 5 to 12. Stage number 5, identity versus role confusion. Basic virtue is fidelity. Age group is between 12 to 18. Stage number 6, intimacy versus isolation. Basic virtue is love. Age group is between 18 to 40 years. Stage number 7, generosity versus stagnation. Basic virtue is care and age group is 40 to 65. The last stage is ego integrity versus despair. Basic virtue is wisdom. The age group is 65 plus. The last 3 stages are the ones which are important from career development as they represent adult development in the life. Associated with these stages, the model of career development was explained by Greenhouse. You can see the stages on your screen. It is divided into 3 columns. First is on occupational choice, second column is typical age range and third column is major task. First is preparation for work. Typical age range is 0 to 25, then variable. Major task is develop occupational self-image, pursue necessary education, assesses career alternatives, develop initial occupational choice. Next, organizational entry. Typical age range is between 80 to 25, then variable. Major tasks are obtain job offers from desired companies, select appropriate job based on accurate information. Next is early career, establishment and achievement. Typical age range is between 25 to 40. Major tasks are learn job, learn organizational rules and norms, fit into chosen occupation and organization, increase competence, pursue dream. Next is mid career. Typical age range is between 40 to 55. Major tasks are reappraise early career and early adulthood, reaffirm or modify dream, make choices appropriate to middle adult years, remain productive in work, retirement planning. Last is late career. Typical age range is after 55 till retirement. Major tasks are remain productive in work, maintain self-esteem, Prepare for effective retirement. Career management from HRM perspective can be understood as a process for enabling employees to understand better and develop their career skills and interest, and to use these skills and interest most effectively both within the company and after they leave the firm. In this course, we are more interested in the management of human resource from the organizational perspective. What managers can do to facilitate the employee's development for a satisfactory, meaningful and satisfying career that also benefits the organization depends on the employee's tenure. For example, before hiring, realistic job interviews can help prospective employees more accurately gauge whether the job is a good fit with his or her skills and career interest. Thus, the employer can be mindful of 2 points. Number 1, help the prospective employees such as interns, volunteers and probationers discover their interest and clarify occupational choice. Number 2, select employees whose career interest may be aligned with the organization's strategy. For the graduates without work experience, the first job is important. It builds their confidence and gives a realistic picture of what he or she can and cannot do. Providing challenging first jobs rather than leaving the new employees on their own and assigning the jobs where they can't do any harm is important. A mentor can be assigned to such employees who can benefit from the mentor's experience. Once the employees have been around for some time and have built proficiency at work, the employer can use career-oriented appraisals of employees' performance. The supervisor of an employee is trained to match the person's strengths and weaknesses with a feasible career path and required development, besides appraisal of performance. Periodic job rotation can help the person develop a more realistic picture of what he or she is and is not good at, and thus the sort of future career moves that might be best. In short, 3 more points should be noted by the employer for employees with a longer tenure. Number 3, help the employee improve their fit with the organization by providing them opportunity to develop their competence. Number 4, provide the path for the employee career that rewards them for their learning and develops their potential so that they remain productive. Number 5, in the end, help senior employees retire in an effective manner. Career management viewed from the individual's perspective is a process by which individuals collect information about values, interests and skill strengths and weaknesses, identify a career goal and engage in career strategies that increase the probability that career goals will be achieved. This definition revealing the employee's perspective was given by Greenhouse in 1987. In this form, it is a sequential process where the managers help the employee identify their career goals and plan their career moves and provide developmental opportunities for career success. It shapes the growth of an individual within an organization given the organizational needs, success profiles and the performance potential and preferences of individual member of the enterprises. The elements of career management are the provision of learning and development opportunities, career planning and management succession planning. The supervisor's role, as you saw, is important in identifying the employee's competence and potential. Here is what the supervisors can do towards career development of employees. The supervisor's role: a competent supervisors can help the employee start and stay on the right career track. An uncaring or unsupportive supervisor can not only inhibit the employee's career development but also sabotage it. Supervisors can do several things to support his or her subordinates' career development needs. Number 1. When the subordinate first begins his or her job, provide orientation and training such that he or she discovers and develops the skills required to get off to a good start. Number 2. Schedule regular performance reviews before the final appraisals and cover the extent to which the employee's current skills and performance are consistent with the person's career aspirations. Number 3. Provide the employee with an informal career development plan. Number 4. Keep subordinates informed about how they can utilize the firm's current career related benefits and encourage them to do so. A number of career management methods are available to the organization for use. Career Planning Workshop is a planned learning event in which participants are actively involved. They complete career planning exercises and inventories and participate in career skills practice sessions. A typical workshop includes self-assessment exercises, an assessment of important occupational trends, and goal setting and action planning segments. Career coaches can be hired to assist employees who are willing to participate. Coaches help individual employees identify their development needs and obtain the training, professional development and networking opportunities that they require to satisfy those needs. There are more such methods, but for the purpose of this course, we move on to succession planning. Consider the career planning and development of an employee in an organization. Depending on the organization's size, structure and management philosophy, several career paths may be available to an employee who wishes to develop further. For an example, a career path within a consulting firm may include a sequence of positions depending on the merit and specialization: junior consultant, consultant, senior consultant, junior manager, manager, senior manager, vice president or partner. When an employee moves up the career path or even resign, is transferred or for any other reason tenders resignation from current position, a vacancy is created. In important jobs, a vacancy is not desired for many reasons. Therefore, the succession is planned for such jobs, which allows the organization and its managers to plan who would be the second person in line. Therefore, we are now going to discuss succession planning and management. Succession planning refers to the formal process that facilitates the transfer of management control from one position incumbent to another. When succession planning and management is effective, it boosts the self-esteem of the selected employees and creates an answer to the question of what's next for them. For managers and employers, it's a proactive measure that gives them an alignment of talent development with the company's future leadership needs. The reasons for planning succession are not hard to guess. Globally, the measures like downsizing and adoption of technology have led to shrinking size of workforce and talent pools. In many organizations, the managers who survived the workforce pruning do not have the range of experience and skills necessary today, not because they are lazy or untalented, but because they have lacked the opportunities to develop themselves. Organizations which lie past their founders usually have succession systems. Succession management systems that have high CEO involvement allocate significant resources to formal human resource functions and establish accountability in support of their succession processes are more likely to be effective. The problem becomes worse at the top. Globally, about 10% to 15% of corporations must appoint a new CEO each year, whether because of retirement, resignation, dismissal or ill health. Yet a 2010 survey by the search firm Heydrich and Struggles and the Rock Center for Corporate Governance at Stanford University revealed that only 54% of boards were grooming a specific successor and 39% had no viable internal candidates who could immediately replace the CEO if the need arose. CEO succession is much written about because perhaps it is seen as the most pervasive type of management change. Every employee is likely to experience some effects due to the transition. To external constituents, example shareholders, suppliers, customers, the public, the government, it is the CEO who most symbolizes the organization. The CEO represents the ultimate decision maker and the person with absolute authority. As such, external parties are likely to view succession as a signal about the institution's future, and the successes and failures of individual CEOs often translate into the successes and failures of the firm. This makes CEO succession a defining event for virtually every organization. According to Ivy Business Journal, most organizations that have done research on their succession planning process have discovered that their designated backup personnel actually fill fewer than 30% of the open position for which they were slotted. Whether the CEO position or any other key position within the organization, succession planning remains an ongoing process of systematically identifying, assessing and developing organizational leadership to enhance performance. Dessler suggests 3 steps of effective succession planning: identify key needs, develop inside candidates and assess and choose those who will fill the key positions. Identification of key needs involves review of the strategic and business plans of the organization. Urging managers to start early, Harvard Business Review reminds that planning takes years, not months. At this stage, key positions are defined, defining high potential levels are defined, top management support is enlisted, and the current talent is reviewed. Development of inside candidates is the second step. Developmental experiences are created for the inside candidates who are assessed as viable candidates. Internal training and cross-functional experiences, job rotation, external training and global or regional assignments are important means of development. Finally, in the phase of assessment and choice, candidates who will actually fill the key positions are chosen. Companies like PepsiCo have introduced a new replacement system which groomed high potential people for organizational levels rather than a specific job. Decisions about moving high potential people, the organizational ladder are now made by senior executives who balance the company's need to fill certain positions with the needs of the individuals being developed. Pool members are assigned to stretch jobs and task forces that offer the best learning and highest visibility and accelerate individual development. Candidates have an assigned mentor, receive more feedback, coaching and training, and participate in special developmental experiences such as university executive programs and in company action learning sessions. We note that whether the high potential talent pool will be trained for the next level or whether individuals will be handpicked for individual positions, succession planning is going to be around as an important concern for anyone who manages human resources. With this, we come to the end of this session. We will see you soon in the next session. Until then, goodbye.